Hello, everybody. This is Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks lunchtime streaming show. We are in the archive today, but we're not live. This is pre-recorded as I am driving to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, to hang out with some friends of mine, the people who actually founded Home Movie Day. I was on the board with them at one point with the Center for Home Movies, and we're just hanging out, having a good time. And then tomorrow, going to be at Dollywood, riding some roller coasters and eating some funnel cake, I'm sure. So these are both pre-recorded, but I hope that's okay. So today, every once in a while I like to do a theme show. So today is all films about clocks and watches, some of which we've seen before. Oh boy, I am trying to step through this thing and it's going crazy. So the first film is called Time for Clocks, and it talks about basically how to tell time. We've seen this a couple years ago on the streaming show. Next is a jam handy film called How a Watch Works, which is a short subject that was kind of talking about craftsmanship and engineering. Then, oh boy, sorry, I'm scrolling through the timeline, and so it's basically what we call scrubbing. Next is a film by Hamilton called What Makes a Fine Watch Fine. And then finally, bringing back my old friend Pirro, little Marionette, and he learns about how to tell time, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to stick. He's not a very bright clown, but I love Pirro. I know some of you can't stand Pirro, but I find it to be, I don't know, meditative. It's very similar to Bob Ross, or what is it, the ASMR or AMN? Yeah, ASMR type of stuff. Everything's very quiet and subdued. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching today. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. You can support us with a super thanks button. You can also go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are ways to support us. And I don't know, maybe if you donate, I'll eat some funnel cake based on your donation. I don't know. A friend of mine does a streaming show down the street. Excuse me. He runs the Devo Archive. And so he has a Thursday night show, and people pay him to drink. They basically are like, hey, here's some money, drink. Here's some money, drink. I don't think I can get away with that, especially doing a daily show, and especially doing it. See, I have been drinking. Doing it at lunch. I don't think I could get drunk every lunch. Plus, you'd probably get sick of watching me get drunk. But anyways, thank you so much for watching and for your support. And we will see you tomorrow, but not live. We'll see you, but we won't see you. So we'll see you live on Monday when we get back. Everybody have a great day. Let's learn about some watches. Enjoy.
Big clocks, little clocks, alarm clocks that ring, round clocks, air clocks, fancy clocks that sing, cuckoo clocks or happy clocks. Watch the little bird. He's telling you what hickory-dickory-dock clocks. See them straight and tall, faces shining brightly as they stand along the wall. Clocks are pretty wonderful in a special sort of way. They tell us just what time it is at any time of day. At night time, too, they work and work as the hours move ahead, keeping track of passing time for you, asleep in bed. When morning comes, the clock still works to tell you many things. Time to rise. Come on now and see what this day brings. 7 o'clock, your day begins. The clock is helping you. It's telling you to be on time for all that you must do. Morning time is wake-up time. There's really lots to do. So wash your hands and wash your face, and ears need scrubbing too. The clock has changed. Look at it now. The small hands move to 8. The family knows it's breakfast time. Father sees it's time for work and soon is on his way. See you later, Father says, and he's off to stay. Mother's packed a healthful lunch, good food to help you grow. Now it's time for you to leave, and off to school you go. At school, the clock has changed again. Its hands continue turning. Salute the flag and sing a song. Time for learning. For reading books about new friends, adventures that they share. Surprises wait on every page for us to find them there. Then the clock points to the hour that says it's time for play. Turns at friendly games is a happy time of day. Now more to learn before the morning skips along its way. Numbers and arithmetic, lots to do and say. Using colors, painting pictures. The morning's almost through. Clocks can help you plan your time. A time for cleanup, too. It's been a busy morning. Lunchtime's coming soon. The clock helped you get ready for 12 o'clock noon. The lunch hour seems the shortest, though it lasts from 12 to 1. Time seems to pass more quickly when you're busy having fun. After lunch, it's play. Then the hour really speeds, with jumping feet and swing ropes, 100 happy deeds. Back into the classroom. There the clock is keeping track. The small hand shows it's 1 o'clock. An hour, and we are back. Let's put a clock together now. First, we'll need its face. Later, we'll add the numbers, each one in its place. Now we're ready to begin. Every number has a name. Let's say their names together as we play a number game. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at all the numbers there. From 1 to 12 they grow. Moving in a circle path around the face they go. 1 o'clock, it's afternoon. 2 and 3 and 4. 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and still some numbers more. 7 o'clock, it's night time. The evening hours are here. 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Now 10 o'clock is near. 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock. It's midnight. And then the numbers all start over, and it's 1 o'clock again. 1 o'clock. It's dark outside. 2 and 3 and 4. 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And day begins once more. 7 o'clock. The sun is up, and morning's on its way. 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Another bright new day. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 12 o'clock comes soon. 12 o'clock in time. 12 o'clock noon. Twice we've said the hours' names for sleep, for work, for play. Twice we've gone around the clock for one full night and day. Our play clock isn't finished. There's something to be done. Both the hands are missing. But first, we'll add just one. slowly the little hand really moves as time keeps ticking past. To help us learn, we'll speed it up and change the hours fast. We'll watch the hand move quickly as it helps us tell the time. When it stops, let's say the hour together and in rhyme. Ready now? Here it goes. It keeps on moving more. Careful now. Read the clock. It tells us that it's 4. Move along right past 5, right past 6 and 7. 8 and 9 and 10 are gone. The time must be 11. On past 12 and back to 1. The clock now seems life. It moves ahead and soon will stop. The hour now is 5. Let's read one more time on the clock. You're really doing fine. Watch it move. It soon will stop to tell us that it's 9. Only has one hand, have 2. Let's add a long hand to our clock and see what it will do. This time, watch what happens when the small hand moves to 1. The big hand moves much faster, back to where it has begun. Did you see it? Look again. As the small hand moves to 2, all around the big hand goes to pass all numbers through. Let's stop the big hand halfway round and see what it will do. Both hands upon the clock now show that it is 2:30. The big hand's on its way again. Let's see what we can see. The hands upon the clock now show that it is 3:30. 3:30, what does that mean? It means it's not yet 4. The time is just halfway between 3 and 1 hour more. Now the clock is telling us as the big hand circles more, it's past the hour of 4 o'clock, so it must be 4:30. Now watch both hands move again as they help us tell the time. When they stop, let's read the clock together and in rhyme. On they move, slow, small hand. Big hand seems alive. Soon they reach 1/2 the hour, 5:30. Once again the hands move on. Ready? Don't be late. 6:30. And now it's 8:30. Clocks work for you. They help you.
Listen. What do you hear? The song of 12,000 horsepower in action. Thousands of precision parts operating in flashing unison, obedient to the control of the skilled pilot and crew. Yet it takes a nightmarish panel of sensitive and complicated instruments and controls to adjust the power output for changing loads, speeds, and conditions in flight. Listen again. What do you hear? The familiar sound of a fine motor car engine. More than 100 horsepower, responsive to the driver's lightest touch on the accelerator. Yet this fine engine must be constantly controlled all the time it's in operation to keep its power in balance with changing requirements. Again, what do you hear? The purr of an electric generator. As electrical power loads vary, as conditions vary, throughout the minutes, hours, days, weeks, and months, so must the power be regulated by watchful operators to keep the generator turning at constant speed. What do you hear? You guessed it. The beating of a human heart. One of the most amazing machines on Earth. The normal human pulse is between 70 and 80 beats per minute. Yet this rhythm varies every time we move or change position. Like this when we are resting. Like this when we are running or at play. And changing too with our emotions when we are happy, angry, or frightened. Listen. What do you hear now? That's right, the ticking of a watch. An accurate watch ticks 5 times each second. Like the engines of airplane and motor car, like the generator, like the human heart, your watch is a power plant that must operate unfailingly under an infinite variety of conditions. Yet, unlike our heartbeat, the beat of this tiny power plant must never vary. Unlike the giant generator, it has no tons of concrete on which to rest solid, level, and safe from vibrations which might affect its accuracy. There are no watchful attendants, no careful drivers, no skilled pilots, no banks of instruments and controls to regulate its speed and guard its accuracy. What controls the ticking of a watch? Inside, we find a beautifully poised and balanced mechanism of springs and gears, pinions and bearings. And this entire mechanism must be confined to a very small space. Still, it must run at a constant speed. Never more, never less, with an accuracy that approaches perfection. To understand what goes on inside a watch, let's make a simple device that will keep time. We'll use a garden hose. First, we'll place a little water wheel and dial in the center. When water passes through, it will turn the wheel and make the hand on the dial move. Now we'll attach the hose to a faucet. The faucet is our source of power. The hose conducts the water, our power in this case, past the dial to the nozzle. The nozzle controls the flow of power. By turning the nozzle, we can allow just a little water to flow through the hose, and the hand on the dial will turn slowly. By opening the nozzle wider, we allow a heavy stream of water to flow through the hose, and the hand on the dial turns faster. If our source of power, the water pressure, remained constant, and if we could adjust the nozzle carefully enough, we would have a timepiece that would keep accurate time. Here, in a greatly simplified form, we have the 4 elements needed in every timepiece. A source of energy or power, a means of transmitting power, a dial to record the flow of power, and a way to control the power. Now let's see what these 4 elements are like in our watch. First, we'll take our watch apart, like this. We'll begin with this part, the mainspring and barrel assembly. And so we can see everything that goes on inside, let's use giant parts to make a watch model. This is the mainspring, and it lives inside the mainspring barrel. The mainspring is the power plant of the watch, the source of power, like the faucet in our water clock. By winding the spring, we can store up energy. Here is a winding stem with gears and a click to keep the spring from unwinding. And here is the unit that controls the flow of power, like the nozzle on our hose. It is called the balance wheel and hairspring assembly. It consists of the balance wheel, hairspring, balance staff or axle. Fastened to the balance staff is a part called a roller. To the roller is attached an upright jewel pin. Let's see how these work together. A push on the jewel pin will start the balance wheel moving, and more pushes will keep it moving. To do this job of pushing, we need this odd anchor-shaped lever called a pallet. It can be mounted so that when we move the pallet back and forth, we can apply a series of impulses to the jewel pin to keep the balance wheel in motion. Now to the pallet crossarm, we add a pallet jewel shaped like this. Here is a wheel called an escape wheel, with teeth on it so shaped that they will push the pallet jewel and jog the balance wheel into motion. Now we'll use the energy stored up in our mainspring to drive the escape wheel. As the mainspring uncoils, it causes the barrel to rotate with it. That didn't last long, did it? Let's try it again. Once things get started, there's nothing to stop them. What we need now is a way of holding the power in check, releasing it a little at a time just when it's needed. Another pallet jewel at the other end of the pallet crossarm will do the trick. Just as the first pallet jewel gets a push from the escape wheel, the second pallet jewel locks against another tooth of the escape wheel to hold the power of the mainspring in check. But the balance wheel keeps swinging, and the jewel pin moves the fork end of the pallet until the escape wheel is again unlocked. But when we connect the mainspring directly to the escape wheel, the power is soon exhausted. In an actual watch, it would last only a few seconds. What we need is a way to stretch the power so it will last for more than a day. In our water clock, we used a hose to transmit power from the faucet to the nozzle. We also need a way to transmit power here. So let's add a system of gears and wheels. We'll stretch them out in a line instead of in their usual closely confined location in a watch. Look at the gears a moment and see what they do. First, a small partial turning of the mainspring barrel drives the center wheel a complete revolution. A partial revolution of the center wheel drives the third wheel a complete revolution. And this in turn drives the fourth wheel much further. As a result, a few turns of the mainspring barrel, driven by the mainspring, will drive the escape wheel many, many revolutions, enough to last a full day and longer. What we have now is a complete model watch train. Through the gears, the mainspring drives the escape wheel. The escape wheel teeth push first on one pallet jewel and then the other. The pallet fork nudges the jewel pin on the balance wheel to keep it moving. The swinging balance wheel on its return trip moves the pallet fork. This unlocks the escape wheel to release a little more energy from the mainspring. Back and forth, the balance wheel swings, controlled by its small coiled spring, the hairspring, in perfect rhythm. Each swing unlocks the escape wheel so it can give an extra push to a pallet jewel, and this is passed on to the balance wheel assembly to keep the watch ticking far more steadily than any beating heart. All we have to do now to measure time is count the ticks. But this would be a tedious job and not very practical. Just as we needed a dial on our water clock, here too we need a method for recording the flow of power. So to the shaft of this gear or wheel, we add an indicating hand to measure seconds. As the gear train of a watch moves far enough to make 5 ticks of the escapement, the second hand moves 1 graduation on its dial. To count the minutes, we can attach a dial and fasten a pointer to this gear wheel, which is just the right size so that it turns 1 complete revolution while the second hand makes 60 revolutions. And to count the hours, we can have another pointer geared just so, to move 1 complete revolution every 12 hours. The second hand makes a complete revolution and the minute hand moves 1 graduation, and when the minute hand makes a complete revolution, an hour has passed. Now we can tell what time it is. But a gear train all strung out like this is a long way from an actual watch. Let's let our model do a bit of rearranging all by itself. Now we know what time it is and how and why we know. A fine watch itself is, of course, a compact precision mechanism with parts miraculously small and fashioned by craftsmen with incredible accuracy. But the basic principles are those we have just seen, frequently applied on a scale almost microscopic to produce the world's most accurate portable measuring instrument. In a truly fine watch, there are many things which make possible the accurate control and release of power. Jewels, for example. Many people correctly believe jewels increase the value of a watch. They increase the value all right, but not by being ornamental. Jewels are in a watch strictly for business. They add to the value only when correctly placed and used. They are the bearings which lessen friction, increase the regularity of the running, and greatly extend a watch's life of dependable service. Harder than the finest steel, these tiny surfaces are finished so smoothly they reflect images like a camera lens. And working with oil, it takes a drop no larger than a pinhead for the entire watch. There is almost no friction. If any single part of a watch can be called more important, it's the hairspring. It absorbs and gives out an equal amount of force with each beat or swing at regular intervals. In a fine watch, the hairspring has uniform thickness throughout its whole length, is polished to a mirror-like finish, and made of metal relatively unaffected by magnetism or changes in temperature. It can be apparently distorted, but it always returns to perfect shape. Hairsprings are overcoiled, like we see here, to allow the spring to breathe evenly. Were this not done, the spring would coil and uncoil unevenly, fluff out on one side, and interfere with the accuracy of the watch. Because a watch is required to run in any position, to be accurate, the balance wheel must be perfectly balanced in any position. This is done by poising. The wheel is poised when there is no effect of the pull of gravity reflected in its action on the knife-like edges of the instrument which checks it. With perfect poising, and with the hairspring centered on the balance wheel, it runs accurately in any position all the time. And it's the same with all the parts. The tiny screws, scarcely larger than a speck of dust. The exceedingly small shafts. The precisely made gears and pinions. The sturdy nickel-silver plates and bridges. Every part is made with utmost precision. Precision which approaches perfection. When we look at the almost invisible parts, understand what they are required to do, realize the uncanny skill needed to make a fine watch, we can easily understand why it is a masterpiece of precision and accuracy. Here is a truly wonderful mechanism. With it, you can accurately measure the passing of time and record that passing for your use and convenience. But this mighty little servant is a creation of beauty, too. A precious possession to be worn with pride and confidence every day, every week, every month, year after year. Listen. What do you hear? It's the ticking of a fine watch. Wherever you go, whatever you do, America's fine watch ticks steadily, accurately on. 5 ticks every second.
And so, though Jim is retiring, going out to pasture, he calls it, we present this gift as a token of our continuing friendship and esteem.
Well, fellas, I really can't tell you how much this means to me. But I can tell you that this truly wonderful gift will be a constant reminder of your friendship and the help you've given me. And through the years, I shall always remember the pride I feel this evening in having won your companionship and good opinion. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot in the days of old lang syne.
For old lang syne, my dears, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kind.
I'm so proud. Oh, just wait till the gang sees this. Hey, kids, come on the running. Oh, it's just perfectly perfect. And so are you, both of you, Mom and Dad.
Well, Sally, you're our big girl now. Mother and I wanted our present to tell you just how proud we are of you.
Riley, what is it? Closer, Mrs. Brown. Oh, my God.
Holy Sally, it's beautiful. Oh, I could throw chemistry twice for something like that.
Oh, gee. Last but not least.
Oh, isn't it wonderful?
Gee, thanks, Dad. It sure is a beauty. And the best, too. Maybe I can get places now on time. And that'll be something.
Yep, that'll be something, all right, if you do. Huh? I guess I was like that, too, when I was your age. You know, my father was a stickler for being on time. He preached and preached on the value of time, the importance of it, how much it meant to others, as well as yourself. Like a lot of young fellows that sort of went in one ear and out the other then. But as I grew older, I learned how right your grandfather was. He always felt that promptness and consideration for the time of others was a mark of character and integrity. This fine watch, my 21st birthday present, has always reminded me of that, and it is one of my most precious possessions, as I hope yours will be to you.
Yes, for hundreds of years, a fine watch has been one of man's most highly prized possessions. Its possession always has been a mark of distinction, its performance and beauty a source of pride. When the first watches were made, they were so ornate and expensive that only monarchs and the wealthy could own them. Despite the fact that they often varied as much as an hour a day, they were the mark of distinction, the badge of wealth. Today, that mark of distinction still remains, but modern American production methods have made it possible for people everywhere to own a fine watch. Less ornate, perhaps, for times have changed, but certainly more accurate. But which watch? That is the question. There are many conflicting claims, many aspirants to the throne of leadership in the watchmaking industry. What makes a fine watch fine? There are many things. First, the name and reputation of the company, and that is important, because a good name and respect can only be gained by quality of product. A quality of product built up by years and years of fine watchmaking experience. But before you can even begin to make a really fine watch, it takes people, many people of long experience, people with ideals and ambition and pride in their craftsmanship, together with vast facilities built up through years of patient development, many buildings, special tools and much equipment, many laboratories for never-ending research to maintain the spirit of pioneering, of leadership in research. It takes a record of performance, too, through time itself. Time, the test of any product, during which a product survives, grows, and becomes a byword for satisfactory performance through long years of service. And it takes the preference of people who buy and sell quality products, fine watches which are fine all the way through. So let's go into a fine watch factory and see what it takes to make a fine watch, and why everyone can't do it. We'll begin with people. People chosen carefully on the basis of rigid tests, job selection and classification for exactly the right skills and temperament. People who, before they learn the trade, must first show that they can learn the knacks, the nimble-fingered dexterity to make them successful in their jobs. It takes almost a year to make a really fine watch, but it takes years to make a watchmaker, even under friendly supervision and the help of more experienced fellow workers. Because of these high standards, watchmaking is a career into which sons follow their fathers, adding their youthful spirit to the accumulated experiences of the years. And here, a career is more than just a job. Nearly half of the employees in this fine watch factory have been with the company for 5, 10, 15, 20, or more years, and some certain few of these with the company more than 50 years, go back in memory and experience to the first Hamilton watch ever sold. This watch, built more than 54 years ago, can still pass rigid time inspection tests for railroad service. Such accuracy and dependability are products of the incredible skills found in this magic land of Lilliput, where little things make a vitally big difference. Yes, to make a fine watch fine takes fine people, and it takes the most modern facilities for designing and making the tools and equipment to manufacture fine watches as well. Here are machines making machines, delicate machines making still more delicate and precise machines, which are in turn used to make almost unbelievably small parts. Unbelievably small parts? Have you ever had a speck of dust in your eye? Some of the actual watch parts are no larger than a speck of dust. This speck is a watch screw actual size. And alongside is a model of the screw, enlarged 100 diameters. And there's enough metal in the enlarged model to make 1 million actual screws of this type. Modern facilities, miracles in miniature. On this machine, watch screws are made complete with exquisite precision. Yet they are almost invisible to the naked eye. Here in this small pillbox are 300,000 tiny screws, a full year's output of one of these amazing machines. So in a world of fascinating smallness, highly skilled people work with fine machines to a superfine degree of accuracy in every step in manufacturing, like making extremely small axles called balance staffs, with tolerances from the absolute point of accuracy to only 1/10,000th of an inch. In all operations, such as the manufacture of a balance wheel, that tiny, constantly moving wheel, accuracy is almost a religion. And through the skill, the patience of the watchmaker's craft, bits of metal are transformed into minute watch parts of technical perfection. These craftsmen have drilled holes so small through pieces of metal that they cannot be seen by the naked eye until light is placed behind them. And just to keep in practice, a technician recently drilled a hole in a hair, his way of demonstrating the type of minute operation without which the manufacture of really accurate small timepieces would be impossible. People, machines, and metals. There's accuracy in metals too. Take, for example, the hairspring of America's fine watch. Here is the beating heart, pulsing 5 times each second, controlling the operation of the balance wheel and determining the accuracy of the watch. Although it is called a hairspring, it is sometimes only 1/5 as thick as a human hair. And because of its small size and the job it has to do, it must be as nearly perfect as human skill can make it. In this steel mill, materials are weighed to split fractions of an ounce on scales that can weigh an eyelash, can weigh a fingerprint. In the making of metal for this hairspring, it takes careful control of the ingredients and careful control of the heat and a lot of patience and know-how. The exclusive alloy known as Elenvar Extra is produced by this miniature steel mill in 10-pound ingots, only 2 pounds of which are actually used. Without Elenvar Extra, the amazing and record-shattering performance of Hamilton marine chronometers and other wartime pieces would never have been achieved. It is now used in all watches made by this company. When you are making the finest hairsprings in the world, you watch that raw material like an incubator baby. A half-ton a year total output and only 25 pounds of that usable. Steel alloy, much more precious than gold, ounce for ounce, when it's made into hairsprings. A pound of Elenvar Extra hairsprings would be worth nearly $1 million. Although it does its part to make a fine watch fine, finished alloy is only a raw material. Before it can be used, it must be fabricated, shaped to its purpose. So the ingot is forged into a rod. The rod is turned and swedged, beaten and stretched, and then processed and extended to 60,000 times its original length. From a 20-inch rod, 20 miles of mirror-finished ribbon, finer than a hair, produced from start to finish under exacting laboratory conditions for quality control. But there's still more to it than that. The flattened ribbon of wire is precisely coiled, permanently set by heat into its final spiral shape, and then through incredibly delicate operations installed on the balance assembly. Did we say that the hairspring is the heart of time? Did we say that the accuracy of a really fine watch is determined to a large degree by the accuracy of its tiny hairspring and balance wheel? Only in this factory will you see this machine, an amazing electronic vibrator, a machine that measures with microscopic precision the exact length of hairspring needed to make the completed watch a really accurate fine watch. By testing no more than the hairspring and balance wheel with no other gears, springs, nor any of the other vital watch parts, this machine can yet tell with almost absolute precision how fast or slow a watch will run before it is assembled. In 1769, when James Watt patented his first steam engine, he was proud of his manufacturing accuracy, as demonstrated by the fact that certain parts of the engine were machined to tolerances of 1/10 of an inch. Today, parts that go into a really fine watch are made to tolerances as small as 1/10,000th of an inch, some even to 1/100,000th of an inch, and instruments are used that can measure 1/1,000,000th of an inch. To make fine American watches, special precision measuring instruments, gauges, and tests had to be developed. Measurement and remeasurement, inspection and reinspection, check and double check. Fine watchmaking is the ritual of accuracy and the worship of precision. Of the 2,000 operations which go into the making of a fine watch, nearly half are inspections, and 20% of these are double inspections, or inspectors inspecting inspectors. A speck of dust and 40 pounds of bread dough. What has this to do with watchmaking? A great deal, it seems, when you realize that every morning this amount of bread dough is mixed and used throughout the factory to remove specks of dust, chips and filings from small parts which have just been machined. Bread? Then how about honey to go with it? Ordinary honey is used to hold tiny jewels together during the manufacturing operation. Jewels, those tiny bits of extremely hard and precious stone, rubies and sapphires synthetically produced, which serve as bearings for moving parts. These bearings are so frictionless, movement so effortless, that a fine watch could be kept running for 4,000 years on the power used in lighting a 25-watt light bulb for 1 hour. To reduce friction in the vital parts, all fine watches have 17 or more jewels. This is the minimum number. More jewels can be used in watches, but it is important to understand that 17 or more jewels do not necessarily make a watch fine. That the measure of a good watch lies not alone in the number of jewels it may have, but in the attention that is given to every detail in the design, planning, manufacture, finishing, and assembly of every part that goes into a watch. Friction is the bugaboo of all machinery. In a fine watch, it is avoided like the plague. Oil is a friction fighter, so the watch oil to fight friction and prevent wear must be the finest of the fine. Here in miniature scale is a complete oil refinery producing what is probably the world's finest watch oil. A single flask like this is enough to lubricate 500,000 watches, and yet most of this precious lubricant, which costs about $6,000 a gallon, is thrown away because it is delivered drop by drop to the watch assemblers. Then it is kept clean and fresh by a delivery schedule in which every 2 hours the leftovers are carefully wiped away and replaced. It takes nearly 9 months to complete the 2,000 operations that go into the making of a really fine watch, but it takes nearly 2 years from the time a new watch movement is conceived to the delivery of the first production unit. During this time, more than 100,000 man-hours of design, careful engineering, and specialized skills go into the development of the new movement and the precision tools and equipment needed to build it. Here are watches that were never made, That is, after time and money went into their development, they were never put into production because they didn't measure up to the standards which make America's fine watch. To make a fine watch fine takes many laboratories. Laboratories for testing old and new materials, laboratories for the control of quality, laboratories where heat and extreme cold answer critical questions, where metals are twisted and torn apart, laboratories where the answers to scientific problems are found on machines and measuring instruments that can see the invisible or can weigh a pencil mark, laboratories where the highest development of nearly every science known to man plays a part in the production of a really fine watch. And research is an endless task. Almost since the beginning of time, man has been asking the question, what time is it? Here the question is, what time really is it? Imagine building a timepiece so accurate, so faithful in its measurement of time that nowhere in the world was there a machine precise enough to check its error. This is what happened when the famous Hamilton marine chronometer was produced for our Navy during the war. To check this chronometer, built in mass production in defiance of watchmaking tradition, the electronic comparator was developed for the Naval Observatory to show variations measured in 1/200th of a second. And the time microscope, forerunner of all rapid timing devices used today, is so precise that it reduces measurements which used to take days to less than half a minute. This magic lantern, the time projector, helps check the accuracy of tiny watches which have no second hands, enlarging the minute hand on a screen so that otherwise imperceptible movements can be accurately measured. Yes, it takes some of the world's most precise scientific measuring instruments to make sure that a fine watch is really fine. With the work of many hands, American production methods are making it possible for people in all walks of life to own fine watches. American craftsmanship with American men and women, with the wisdom of experience working alongside the eager spirit of American youth, with patience and skill and pioneering enthusiasm, all these produce the finest watches that human ingenuity can design. You can tell a man or woman by the watch he or she wears. People know that the possession of a fine watch is a mark of distinction. And fine jewelers everywhere know the story behind a fine watch, the inside story that makes the vital difference, for they hear the words of praise and of satisfaction, or the words of complaint and regret. Even more today than in days of old, a fine watch is a precious possession and a highly prized gift. Few other gifts are so appropriate, so long-lasting, so much a source of pride to both giver and recipient, and few possessions serve with such usefulness as that modern miracle in miniature, that lifelong friend and faithful servant, your watch, your fine watch. And that's what makes a fine watch really fine, all the way through.
Pirro, wake up. Pirro. I know. This will do it. Hey, oh, Pirro, be careful. Pirro, you're so excited. Pirro, be careful. Oh, hold on. Pirro, I'd better turn off the alarm clock. I'll turn it off. Oh, there, Pirro. What in the world? Why were you so excited? No, hold on. Here, I'd better catch you. There you are. And I'll put you right back into the drawer. My goodness, Pirro, you certainly were frightened. Now, that's just an alarm clock. Yes, it's a clock. It tells us what time it is. You see, the hour hand points to 7, and the minute hand points to 20 after. So we know that it is minutes after 7. Oh, the noise. Oh, that was the alarm, and I had it set so I could make it ring at 20 minutes after 7. Oh, you don't understand. Well, Pirro, I think that it is bewildering, isn't it? Well, here we go. We'll put you right down, find some way to explain to you all about a clock. I know, I'll draw you up the clock. And, come over this way, and we'll get a piece of paper so we don't have to draw on the floor. And, I think you'll find this will be fun. And I'll draw you the face of a great big clock, and then you'll know all about it. Here we are, and here's a piece of paper. Now I have to unroll it. You want to help me unroll it? All right. Yes, there we are. All you have to do is push a little, and it will unroll. That's right. Push harder. There we go. You can make it. Come on. There you go. There you are. There you are. Push, push, push. Oh, not too hard. Oh, poor Pirro. Oh, you didn't really hurt yourself, did you? Oh, fine. Now, up on your feet. And, yes, this is a nice big piece of paper, so we don't have to draw on the floor. Now, you find a place to sit, and I'm going to get a pencil and draw the face of the clock. See? You want to sit over there? Oh, all right. Yeah, that'll be all right. Now, here is what a clock looks like. First, there's a pencil. First, we draw a circle. That's half of it. All right, you can follow. See where it stops. There you are. Now, here is the other half. Ready? There we are, and it meets, and we have a circle. See? No? What? The ends don't meet, do they? All right, just for you, I'll make them meet. There. Fine. Now, find a place to sit, because I want you to watch me draw in the numbers. Yeah, that's all right. You can see from there. All right, now, watch. 1, 2, 3, count with me. 4, that's right. 5, count with me. 6, 7, 8, 9 goes where? Right here. 10 is, yes, 10 goes right behind you. And 11, and the last one is what? Right, 12. Good. Fine. There we are. Now, you see, Pirro, each of the numbers stands for an hour. And when the hour hand points to a number, it tells us which hour it is. You want to play the hour hand? All right, I think that's a good idea. Well, Pirro, you show me, where does the hour hand point when it is 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock. Good. Yes. All right, now 2 o'clock. Fine. All right, 3 o'clock. Good, Pirro. That's 5. Oh, yes, that's 4. You have 5 and 6. Pirro, slow down. You don't go fast. And 7. Pirro, slow down. Easy. 8 and 9. Pirro, slowly. The hour hand goes very slowly. All right. 11 o'clock. Good. And 12 o'clock. Good, Pirro. Now it's the minute hand that goes fast. So show me, how does the minute hand go? How does it? That's right. Round and round. There you are. Good, Pirro. Well, now, Pirro, you see, there are 5 minutes between the numbers. Yes. For instance, between 12 and 1, there are 5 minutes. You want to count them? All right. All right, you be the minute hand. Ready? I'm ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 minutes after. After what? Well, what hour would you like it to be after? 7? All right, fine. We'll get the pencil and just draw in. We'll draw in the hour hand pointing to 7. Then it will be 5 minutes after 7. See? Good. All right, now you be the minute hand. Here you go. Come on, minute hand. 6, 7. Wait for me. 8, 9, 10 minutes after. Yes, after 7. All right, come on, minute hand. 11, 12, 13, 15 minutes after. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 minutes after 7. 21, 22, 20... Well, Well, what's the matter, Minute Hand? Oh, Pirro, what's the trouble? What's wrong? Well, I thought, I don't know what the... Oh, Pirro, so sad. Oh, now, tell me, what's the trouble? I don't understand, Pirro. You'll have to me. I find a place to sit, and we'll get the real alarm clock and set it so that we can make it go off when the minute hand is at 20 minutes after 7. See? Now you watch. There's the real clock, 20 minutes after 7. Now when you are at 20 after, you'll make the real alarm clock ring. All right? Come on, minute hand. Here we go. 11. Good. That's right. 12. Come on. 13. 14. 15 minutes after. Oh, this is going to be fun, isn't it? 16. 17. Yes, I'll be ready. I'll be ready. Huh? Oh, yes, I know. You. All right, come on. And 18. 19. I'm ready. You're 20 there! Oh, you're happy now, aren't you, Pirro? Oh, well, that is a lot of fun.